What's up, everybody, and welcome back to Fireside Giants. I'm your host, Anthony Rivardo, and today I want to react to an article that came out recently listing Tyrone Tracy Jr. as one of the members of the 2025 NFL All-Breakout team. I want to discuss Tyrone Tracy Jr., why I like him so much, why I think that he is in line for a breakout second season of his career, and I also want to discuss some of the other Giants players that I view as potential breakout candidates as we enter the 2025 season. Now, if you didn't see it, we did post on social media today at Fireside Giants. The rookies are officially in the building reporting to training camp today. Now, I know what you're thinking. Why are they there today? Training camp doesn't start till next week. Training camp starts early for rookies. They report 1 week early just to get acclimated. It's kind of like, just a little bit of an introductory program as they lead into training camp. The rest of the players, the veterans, and everybody else will be reporting to the facility next week, next Tuesday, that is. And then they will all be taking the practice field the next day. And training camp officially begins for the New York Giants, as we all know, next week. Hope to see you guys there. I will be going to a couple of training camp practices with Alex. It's going to be a lot of fun, and I'm really looking forward to meeting some of you, watching the Giants practice, and talking some Giants with all of you fellow Fireside Giants community members and Giants fans. So that's what's on the horizon, training camp next week. But right now, discussing some of the players that I want to keep an eye on at training camp because I think they're in line to take a step forward in the 2025 regular season. We're going to start off with this man right here, Tyrone Tracy Jr. Now, when the Giants drafted Tyrone Tracy Jr. in the 5th round of last year's draft, it was a pick that we felt had a lot of upside, right? A former wide receiver at Purdue, he converted to play running back in the final collegiate season of his career and definitely flashed some things, flashed some great tackle breaking ability and some really good vision for an inexperienced running back. And last season, through the first 5 weeks, Devin Singletary, who the Giants signed for agency last offseason, looked pretty good. I thought that he was going to hold on to that starting job for a good portion of the season. Then he got injured. Tyrone Tracy Jr. steps in, immediately rushes for 129 yards versus the Seattle Seahawks, and basically takes the starting job and never looks back. He had a couple of big breakout performances last season as a rookie, some breakthrough runs, like the long one against the Pittsburgh Steelers, that long touchdown run. He had several of those breakaways and a lot of really good moments, although he wasn't perfect. Tracy did fumble the ball 5 times. He did drop 5 passes for a 9% drop rate. And those are 2 key areas that he simply needs to improve in order to have a breakout in 2025. He has to have better ball security. 5 lost fumbles is, in my opinion, completely unacceptable for a running back. And I do think the ball security of Saquon Barkley is something that we as Giants fans grew to kind of take for granted. For several years there, we had a running back who never put the rock on the turf. And then to have him depart in free agency, obviously, we replace him. We do have some good running backs now with Tracy. Singletary's good last year, and obviously looking forward to Cam Scatterboo. But one of the things that I think we really took for granted, again, was that ball security, because last year, it was a combined 10-plus fumbles put on the ground from the running back position between Devin Singletary and Tyrone Tracy Jr. Lots of fumbles that needs to be cut down. Tracy, if he does want to be that lead running back in this backfield, that workhorse back, and that full-time starting RB1, he needs to make sure that he's keeping the ball out of harm's way and protecting it at all times. And also the dropped passes thing I thought was kind of weird. He is a former wide receiver converted to running back. Running routes and catching passes out of the backfield was really supposed to be his specialty. We didn't all expect Tyrone Tracy Jr. to become the lead running back in year 1 of his career. In fact, many of us thought that he would just kind of be the receiving back and work onto the field that way, maybe on 3rd downs and make some plays out of the backfield as a receiver, lending his wide receiver experience to be that out of the backfield receiver as a rookie. Now, he ended up playing the lead running back role and earning an expanded role in this offense. But for some reason, the receiving aspect of his game was largely underwhelming. I thought he had a couple of moments where, he got open, he wasn't able to track the football well, stepped out of bounds on one key pass down the right sideline that I remember, didn't get both feet in. And also, again, he just had several drops, a couple of them in key moments. And those are things that need to be improved on, and he needs to cut down both the fumbles and the drops. But Tracy definitely has the potential. He's a better route runner than your average running back because of his experience playing receiver. He's definitely explosive in and out of his breaks. He did have that toe tap touchdown grab against the Atlanta Falcons in the back of the end zone. That was a great catch. Just need more of that. Need to be a little bit more consistent with his hands and with his receiving, and definitely needs to have better ball security. But if he does those two things, combined with the good vision that he has and that breakaway running ability that he has as well, he really could be an all-around running back that puts up a lot of scrimmage yards this season. Now, will he be a 1,000-yard rusher? If you take his 13 games that he was the starting running back for last season, you take his average rushing yards per game, I think it was about 61.7, and you extrapolate that over the 17-game sample size, you would have a 1,000-yard rusher in Tyrone Tracy Jr. And then if you add on his receiving as well, you would have had a bunch of scrimmage yards. He put up over 1,100 scrimmage yards last year, rushing and receiving combined, that is, in only 12 to 13 full games that he was really featured in. So my expectations for Tyrone Tracy Jr., I wouldn't say they're super high, but they're pretty high. I do think he's going to be the lead back. He's going to get the majority of the workload out of the backfield for the New York Giants. And I think as a young player with a versatile skill set and a lot of talent, he really could have a great 2025 season, especially considering a couple of the things that Bucky Brooks listed in that article where he did add Tyrone Tracy Jr. to his all-breakout team, one of those being the improvements at the quarterback position. I think that's really going to help Tyrone Tracy Jr., and I'll read from Bucky Brooks of NFL.com what he had to say about that. Quote, after rushing for 839 yards as a rookie, the fifth-round running back has an opportunity to surpass the 1,200-yard mark in an offense that features more efficient quarterback play, with veteran leader Russell Wilson set to take over from Daniel Jones. The improved passing game will lead to more light boxes, 6 or fewer defenders, and wider lanes for the former college wide receiver to scoot through on off-tackle runs and design cutback plays, with Wilson also expected to target Tracy frequently on swing, screen, and option routes in the pass game. The Giants' unheralded running back one could put up massive scrimmage yard totals as a multi-purpose threat from the backfield. End quote. I think that's the perfect way to summarize almost everything that I had already said in this episode, but in a brief passage right there from Bucky Brooks. The way that Tracy's going to be used more this season, face more favorable rushing lanes, and also used as a receiver out of the backfield. I do think a lot of that does tie into the improvements at quarterback. You know, I've said this before, and I'll say it again. The Giants didn't upgrade their skill positions this offseason with any experienced or proven talent. Yes, they added Cam Scatterbo in the backfield, but they didn't sign a veteran receiver to take over as a WR2. They just re-signed Darius Slayton. No upgrades at receiver, really. No upgrades at tight end. No upgrades at running back at the starting level, at least. You know, Scatterbo is a backup for the time being. So no major upgrades on offense except for at the quarterback position. Overhauled that position, which is the most important position, bringing in Russell Wilson. And I really do believe that the Giants view that upgrade at quarterback as their upgrade at receiver, running back, and tight end, meaning they feel as though the players that they had at those skill positions were undervalued and underutilized, and the quarterback position wasn't able to maximize them. Now, with better quarterback play, we should see an improved version of Darius Slayton. Honestly, we should see an improved version of Malik Neighbors, believe it or not. I know he went for 1,200 yards, 7 touchdowns last year, 109 receptions. All of those numbers should go up this year because he has a better quarterback throwing him the ball. Believe it or not, we should see upgrades at wide receiver because the individual performances of the receivers that we already have should be improved. Same thing with the running backs. Last year, it was very easy for opposing defenses to throw 8 guys in the box, load up the box, and say, hey, we're just going to plug the run, slow down the rushing attack because Tracy's a good player, and force these terrible quarterbacks to beat us on the outside. And more often than not, we will beat them because Drew Lock, Daniel Jones, Tommy DeVito, and Tim Boyle were not able to challenge defenses with accurate passes downfield. So that was the strategy that a lot of defenses took last year. Load up the box, eliminate the running game, force the quarterbacks to beat them. And unfortunately, the Giants quarterbacks could not beat those defenses. And that's why they averaged under 16 points per game throughout the second half of the season. I think they finished the year with 16.1 points per game in 17 matches, which is just pitiful. It's just awful. But now, going into this season with Russell Wilson out there, we know he was the highest graded deep ball passer in the NFL last season. We know he has the ability to throw the deep ball with immense accuracy, but also to throw with more accuracy in the short to intermediate ranges. He is an experienced guy, knows how to read defenses. He is a good quarterback. He might not be great, might not be elite like he once was, but he's a good quarterback. And because of that, defenses are not going to be able to load the box as much because he will take advantage and he will make them pay if he's constantly facing 8-man stacked boxes rather than light 6-man boxes. So now with some of those light 6-man boxes, Russell Wilson can kill the play and check into some more runs and hand it off to Tyrone Tracy Jr. He'll go up against those light boxes. He'll have some opportunities to rip some big runs, and I guarantee he will. So I agree with Bucky Brooks's take. I think that when you're looking at breakout potential running backs in the league this season, Tyrone Tracy Jr. does stand among all of them and says, hey, I have the best opportunity now to improve my game. I did this on my own last year with poor quarterback play. Now I've got Russell Wilson beside me in this backfield, and I've got an improved offense, so to speak, looking ahead. And hey, if Andrew Thomas stays healthy this year, we should see even better performances from everybody in this offense. He's the key to it all, but that's for tomorrow's episode. So yes, I do agree. I think Tyrone Tracy Jr., all breakout team makes sense. I think that he is going to be a breakout player for the New York Giants, and I'm really looking forward to him. Doesn't take away from Scatterbo or Singletary. Still think those guys get their own workloads. I just think the lead running back is going to be Tyrone Tracy Jr., and I'm really excited for him. Before I wrap this up, I do want to just briefly go over a few other breakout candidates that I see. Now, I mentioned how Russell Wilson is going to have a positive impact not only on Tracy, but on Slayton, on Wandale, on Neighbors, and everybody else. Jalen Hyatt. We have to say Jalen Hyatt's name every time we talk about Russell Wilson leading the breakouts, because Russ has taken Hyatt under his wing. He's had several training sessions privately with Jalen Hyatt. He's spoken very highly of Jalen Hyatt to the media and to the coaches as well, saying that he believes in him and saying that he believes he has untapped potential. And honestly, I can't wait to see Jalen Hyatt get a quarterback under center who could throw him the ball and actually put the ball on the money deep downfield. We know that Jalen Hyatt has plenty to improve on. We know that his skill set is a little bit limited, but he does run deep routes well. And if he can get open on some of those with some accuracy from the quarterback position now, he could end up making some big plays and definitely having a breakout. Now, I'm not saying that that's necessarily a 1,000-yard receiving season from Hyatt, but, his career high is in the 300s. If he can hit 500 to 600 yards this year and a few touchdowns, doesn't even have a career touchdown yet through the first 2 seasons of his career. If you can have a few touchdowns and, just play well, generally speaking, it'll be considered a breakout year for Hyatt, and maybe he gets an expanded role in 2026. So really like Jalen Hyatt, and obviously I mentioned Russell Wilson, how that's going to help Hyatt. But you know what else is going to help Hyatt? The work that he did this offseason. He gained 25 pounds, and I think that's going to be crucial for him. He was playing last year at around 170 pounds. He said that he gained 25. He's now playing up at 195. And if I evaluate what went wrong for Jalen Hyatt in the first 2 seasons of his career, he was too thin. He wasn't strong enough. He didn't have the physicality necessary to beat cornerbacks off the line of scrimmage, beat press coverage, and actually play at an efficient level downfield because of his lack of physicality. Adding those 25 pounds should help him be stronger against those press corners and should help him play with more physicality and ultimately spark a potential breakout alongside the upgraded quarterback. So that's what I'm looking at on the offensive side of the ball. Now, defensively, I think there's a few names that you can point to. I've got 3 names in the secondary. Any one of these guys could break out. You've got Deonte Banks, who we've talked about before. He could break out because he's not playing CB1 now. He's playing CB2, and the Giants have upgrades. I think that the improved pass rush in front of all of these defensive backs could lead to breakouts for Banks. I think Dane Belton, he's looked really good this spring, looks ready to make some big-time plays. If he gets an increase in playing time, I could see him breaking out. And then Drew Phillips was just phenomenal as a rookie, and I only see him getting better in year 2 of his career with the upgrades that the Giants made around him. So I don't think it's kind of hard to focus in on any one of those defensive backs, but I think with the upgrades in the pass rushing core of, having the Dexter Lawrence now paired with Brian Burns, Kavon Tibido, and of course the upgrade of Abdul Carter, Chauncey Golston in depth, Darius Alexander as well. There's so much talent on that defensive line. The ball is going to come out quicker from these quarterbacks' hands, and I think that these defensive backs are going to see breakouts as a result. I don't know who has the biggest breakout. I don't know who ends up being the top performer of these young guys, but I think Drew Phillips is such a talent that he's only going to get better in year 2. I think Dane Belton has demonstrated that he's ready to break out, and he just needs the opportunity. Whether or not he gets that, playing behind Javon Holland and Tyler Nubin, we'll see. Tyler Nubin now playing with a solid player alongside him on the back end. He could see a breakout himself. And of course, Deonte Banks, as we've mentioned many times before, has all the talent in the world, just needs to regain his confidence and needs some help around him. So I think any one of those guys in the secondary, pick your poison. You guys decide who the breakout candidate is. But I think any one of them really could be a breakout player. And Kavon Tibido is the next guy, and probably last guy that I'm going to mention in this episode. Playing on this defensive line, we thought last year the addition of Brian Burns would spark a breakout from Kavon Tibido, but ultimately I think the Giants Secondary struggled a lot, which wasn't good for the defensive line. And I think the defensive line dealt with too many injuries to help the secondary. It was paradoxical. It wasn't good. Overall, the Giants defense underwhelmed us. But this year, I think the addition of Abdul Carter clicks everything into place. I think that he's an absolute game wrecker. It has the potential to be at least, but I really think he will be as a rookie. I think he's going to wreak havoc. I think having him move all over the defensive line and apply pressure is really going to create one-on-one opportunities and open things up for guys like Burns, like Dexter Lawrence, like Darius Alexander, but really Kavon Tibido. I think Kavon Tibido also added some weight and some mass to his frame this offseason, which again, kind of similar to Jalen Hyatt, I think was his biggest weakness last year. I think Tibido needed to add more size and strength to be more physical. I think at times he got a little bit beat up by some of these stronger tackles that he was facing. Yes, he can win with a little bit of speed and maybe sometimes a little bit of power, but I think adding more pass rushing moves to his repertoire and adding more physicality to his frame will help Kavon Tibido. But really, I just think it's about the advantages and matchups, right? Just having so much pass rushing talent all on the field at once, I think he's going to create some opportunities for Thibodeau to get after the quarterback. I'm not necessarily projecting a double-digit sack season. I think he's going to have a pretty fair share of his snaps handed off to Abdul Carter because Carter is honestly the more physical talent athletically and everything like that. So I think they're going to want to get Carter on the field as much as possible. But I think all three of those edge rushers in Carter, Burns, and Thibodeau are going to be on the field at once. And it's just going to be who gets to the quarterback the fastest because they're all going to get home at one point or another. And who does that happen to more frequently? So I think Thibodeau's got an opportunity where everything's going to open up for him here. And hey, I'm really hoping that Shane Bowen is able to put together a defense that does take advantage of all of the talent that they have up front in the defensive line and create those matchup advantages. And I do think that will spark potentially some sort of a breakout for Kavon Tibido. Maybe he does hit double-digit sacks again. That would be great. Obviously, he's playing on the fifth-year option after this season. This is the fourth season of his career, so it's not the final season of his rookie contract because the Giants did pick up that fifth-year option. But because he's on that fifth-year option, he is a tradable asset going into 2026 as well. So 2025, it is kind of time for Kavon Tibido to prove, hey, I'm a game wrecker, Giants. You need to keep me around, or maybe it's time to move on in 2026 while he's on that fifth-year option, regain some sort of draft capital for him. So those are some of the things that I'm thinking on Thibodeau, but those are some of the breakout candidates that I'm recognizing for this New York Giants roster heading into 2025. All of these players are players that I'm keeping a keen eye on going into training camp. Some of the other players I'm, of course, keeping an eye on are Jackson Dart. I want to see how the rookie quarterback performs. I obviously want to see how some of these other defensive backs perform as well, like Cordell Flott. I'm excited to see some of the veterans that they added, of course, like Javon Holland, DePaulson, and Debo, and definitely keeping an eye on the offensive line and how they perform going into training camp and through training camp as well. But I really do think there's a lot of young ascending talent on this Giants team. It's a very young team and a youthful roster. And now it's just time for some of these young guys to take those steps forward and have those breakout campaigns that we're all hoping for and that we do envision for some of these young guys. So I'm really excited for this season. I think it's going to be a really fun one. I know you guys are very aware how optimistic I'm feeling, and I know you guys are excited to enjoy the season with me, and I just can't wait to enjoy it with all of you. And so I'll just say this, stay tuned. We've got a 25,000 subscriber special in the works and on the way very soon here. I saw some of you comment that you really like the Let's Ride t-shirt that I'm wearing. This is a Fireside Giants merch t-shirt. If you want one, go over to empiresportsmedia.com and click on the store tab up in the top right corner, and you can get one yourself. I really like this shirt. Fits really well, too. Makes my arms look good. So go ahead, check out the store, and we've got some other Fireside Giants gear available as well. But hey, guys, thanks so much for tuning in. Make sure to leave a like if you enjoyed. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. Ring the bell so you don't miss an episode, and comment your thoughts down below in the comment section. If you listen to Apple or Spotify, make sure to leave us a 5-star review. Go ahead and follow us on all of our social media channels at Fireside Giants. Without further ado, I'll catch you on the next one. Have a good one, and let's go New York Giants.